internet to everyone. We need you to join us. If we work together over the next decade, we can transform the landscape of connectivity. How will you shape the future?
Welcome, everyone, to the 2021 Marconi Society Awards Gala, where we celebrate innovation and scientists whose leadership and creativity in advanced communications technology are helping create a more digitally inclusive world. I'm your host, Rachel Sheeran, this evening, and I am so excited to be here with you. We hope they're wherever you're streaming from, whether it's London to LA, Detroit to Dubai, New York to New Delhi, that you are excited to celebrate, to engage, and to learn all here together with the Marconi Society. In a world that's changing faster than ever, celebrating the leaders of today and tomorrow have never been more joyful or more needed. We need you. Over the next hour, you'll hear from some of the leading minds in communication and digital inclusion, celebrating our Marconi Prize recipient, Andrea Goldsmith. Plus, you'll meet our young scholars and hear a TEDx-style keynote from Larry Irving. And of course, celebrate and hear from Andrea herself. An incredible honor, an incredible evening. So let's not waste a second more. It is my honor to introduce and welcome to the virtual stage, Vince Cerf, Chairman of the Marconi Society.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Welcome to the Marconi Society Annual Gala, where we celebrate our Marconi Fellowship and Young Scholar awardees and the importance of information and communication technologies to our society. The Marconi Society was established in 1974 by Gioia Braga, Guglielmo Marconi's youngest daughter, to celebrate Marconi's development of radio technology and its application for human benefit. We've named 54 fellows and 6 Lifetime Achievement awardees since 1975 and 44 young scholars since 2008. Actually, I think it's 45 now that I think about it, including this year. With the arrival of our executive director, Samantha Sharpman-Cizik, the Marconi Society launched a major new effort aimed at global digital inclusion. More than simply access to digital technology and the internet, the Marconi Society program is aimed at equipping people with the capacity to maximize the benefit of information and communication technology for work, play, and education. We believe it is vital for these technologies to be safe, secure, private, reliable, affordable, sustainable, and universally available. We spent weeks leading up to today's symposium exploring technical, social, economic, and policy challenges that must be managed if the benefits of digital inclusion are to be realized on a global and universal basis. We spent the day in discussion to refine our understanding of the opportunities that lie ahead. Now we look forward to introducing our awardees and celebrating their accomplishments. In particular, we'll hear from many of the friends and colleagues of our newest Marconi Fellow, Andrea Goldsmith. She's the first woman to be accorded this honor, and for sure will not be the last. I think you'll come to appreciate the remarkable capabilities and enthusiasm she brings to her work. We will meet our new young scholars and anticipate that we will hear about their future successes in their chosen fields. And finally, we'll also hear from the man who coined the term digital divide, the former head of NTIA, Mr. Larry Irving. I'm happy now to turn the program over to our effervescent executive director, who with her staff and many volunteers organized this extraordinary day of diligence and celebration.
Thank you so much, Vint, and thank you to all of you. Let me say a very special, warm welcome to our guests of honor this evening, our 2020 Marconi Fellow, Andrea Goldsmith, our amazing young scholars who you're going to hear about shortly, and to our growing community, and that means all of you. As a nonprofit, our ability to deliver programming, collaborations, and events like this depends on the generosity of so many. The Decade of Digital Inclusion is made possible with the support of our great sponsors who are as passionate about digital inclusion as we are. So a special thanks to our presenting sponsors, Vint and Sigrid Serve. Thank you so much. Our gold sponsors, Cisco and Crown Castle. Our incredible silver sponsors that span industry, academia, and professional associations. Our bronze and partner sponsors who also hold digital equity and inclusion in such high regard. Thank you all for the support, and the Decade of Digital Inclusion would not be happening without you. So thank you so much for making tonight possible. Over to you, Rachel.
Thank you, Vint, and thank you, Samantha. Thank you, sponsors. You know, as we begin this evening's honors, I can't help but think about how many people it takes to do something great. From our team streaming live here from Nashville, Tennessee, to the incredible Marconi Society staff and board, bravo. Great things get done together. And most great things, well, they rely on the network that so many of you have helped create. But it isn't just in the scenes. Let's hear now from some of the people in the life of our Marconi Prize winner, Andrea. Please welcome her husband, Arturo.
Andrea, those of us privileged to live life alongside you get to personally and continually experience the wisdom, intelligence, warmth, dedication, and diligence with which you pursue all your endeavors. It is therefore very rewarding to us, your family, to see your colleagues recognize these qualities and honor you with the Marconi Award for your many professional accomplishments. On behalf of the whole family, I take immense pleasure to congratulate you on being awarded this well-deserved recognition. Keep shattering those glass ceilings. Marrying you, building a family together, and watching you grow into the superstar that you are has been the greatest joy of my life. You're not just my spouse. You're my best friend, my media naranja, my confidant, and my partner in the greatest adventure of our lives. You're the love of my life, and words cannot express how proud I am of all your accomplishments. Congratulations, love.
Family is not an important thing, it's everything. Thank you, Arturo. Now on to Andrea's colleagues. And one of them, well, a fellow dean of engineering at Andrea's alma mater, UC Berkeley, and a fellow member of Intel's board of directors. Welcome, Dean Sue J. King Liu.
Hi, Andrea. Congratulations on winning the Marconi Prize. This is due recognition of your innovative and impactful contributions to wireless systems and networks, which have transformed the field of communications and society at large. We are so proud to be able to count you among UC Berkeley's most distinguished alumni, and I am honored to have you as a colleague and friend. As a luminary in innovating technology for the benefit of humanity, you exemplify your alma mater's motto, Fiat Lux. I am especially appreciative of your leadership in promoting best practices for fostering diversity in engineering, particularly as a founder and chair of the IEEE Technical Advisory Activities Board Committee on Diversity and Inclusion. Thank you for your leadership in advancing equity and inclusion toward a brighter and more equitable future for all members of our society. Congratulations again. I wish you continued success in all your endeavors.
Thank you, Sujay. Love the Berkeley background, by the way. And you know, we have professors, students, alumni from so many great schools gathered here today. So let's see it in the chat. Where's everyone from? What schools do you proudly represent? Listen, post it in the chat, get to know each other a little bit more, and let your pride show. While you do that, I am thrilled to introduce you to our 2020 and 2021 Marconi Society Paul Barron Young Scholars. Let's hear first from Joseph Kakande, 2011's Marconi Young Scholar, the Marconi Society board member, and chair of the Young Scholar Selection Committee. Joseph?
Thanks, Rachel. My name is Joseph Kakande, and I have the honor of serving as the chair of the Marconi Society Young Scholars Selection Committee. Before anything else, I'd like to extend my congratulations to Professor Goldsmith. You've been an inspiration to many, myself included, and it's a real honor to share tonight with you. I was invited to introduce our 2020 and 2021 Young Scholars. The Paul Barron Young Scholar Program, which was generously funded by an endowment by Paul Barron, one of our fellows, has been running for about 13 years now. And it brings together a group of young leaders in the field of telecommunications. These are scientists and researchers who have been selected for exhibiting leadership, both academically as well as research within the field, as well as an inherent ability to become potentially young Marconi Fellows one day, just like Professor Goldsmith. We have a group of over 50 at this point. We generally have been selecting about 3 or 4 every year for the last 13 years, as I said. And we have coverage across various domains in telecommunications, optical, wireless, as well as the information sciences. So the selection committee meets every year to go through a pool of applicants to try and find a few candidates who truly exemplify the spirit of what it means to be a Marconi Scholar. This year, unlike most years, we will be celebrating two years groups, those from last year, as well as this year's. Now, we do look through a sequence of criteria to determine our young scholars. Generally, we expect to see stellar academic achievement, as well as a really strong research track record within their field. Most young scholars are generally graduate students. In addition, this year, we've been paying a very special emphasis on digital inclusion. So we looked for candidates who had figured out ways as part of their research to understand the impact of the information sciences, as well as found ways to channel their own research in the general spirit of providing digital inclusion for all. All of our winners truly exhibit that, and we're very excited to see what they will do in their careers, and we're honored to have them join the group of young scholars. Again, to our winners who are about to be introduced, congratulations. We're really proud to have you here, and we look forward to a long engagement with you. Finally, I'd just like to extend thanks once again to the members of the selection committee. You did a tremendous job. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Joseph. And congratulations, young scholars. Absolutely fantastic and inspiring. The future is so bright, and you can learn more about the young scholars by visiting marconisociety.org. As John F. Kennedy once said, children, well, they're the world's most valuable resource. It's best hope for the future. Now, we hear from Nicole and Daniel, our Marconi Prize recipients' children, with a message for her.
Hi, Mom. We're so proud of you for achieving this massive milestone. Despite your long list of accomplishments, you still managed to exceed our expectations.
It amazes us that all the efforts you've set out on, you exceed at the highest level, no matter the barriers. You're truly a role model, not just to us, but all the people who are lucky enough to interact with you.
It's amazing that someone can have a seemingly never-ending list of accomplishments and still be the most present wife, mother, and friend.
As we know, you've never missed being the loudest at a soccer game, recording every musical concert, helping on college essays, and all the little things in between. You somehow find time to spoil us more than we deserve.
Your ability to do all these things simultaneously shows why everyone agrees you're the real-life superwoman.
We love you so much and feel lucky to call you our mom.
So sweet. Thank you, Nicole and Daniel. To keep the fun going, now let's hear from one of Andrea's colleagues and friends, Muriel Medard, the Cecil H. and Ida Green Professor of EECS at MIT.
Hello, my name is Muriel Medard. I'm a professor at MIT and Electrical Engineering Computer Science Department, and it's an honor and a joy to be able to say a few words together in honor of our dear colleague and my dear friend, Andrea Goldsmith. What Andrea means to the community is very manifold and truly unique. First, as everybody in this audience knows, and as a quick look at the public record and publications can confirm, she's an amazing engineer, an amazing scientist. Her contributions to the understanding of wireless communications are really entirely in line with the intellectual legacy of Marconi, of really being a pioneer in communications in a way that has a lasting effect for technology, and of course, through that means for humanity. Her understanding of variations in channels, particularly wireless channels, of what it really means to have different users try to share the same channel, what are the underlying mechanisms, that really has opened up so many insights for the entire community. Second, and this is definitely exceptional, and I would say almost unique in our field, she has managed to do tech transfer. And while we all know about engineering departments, one would be often surprised at the difficulty of going from teaching an engineering department to practicing engineering, particularly when you're working not just in the context of current technological understanding, but when you're trying to bring entirely new understanding and truly break through revolutionary ideas into praxis. Doing that is difficult in the extreme. Doing that successfully, as Andrea has, is truly a tour de force. And she has done that. She has brought multi-antenna systems to areas of communications which were considered up until then to be sort of almost too difficult to retrofit, such as Wi-Fi. I think the work that she did in Fontana in this respect was against all odds, and she did it, and she won against all odds. The third component is a component of mentorship, of leadership through example, through care, through genuine intelligence and warmth combined in a way to provide not just her colleagues, but particularly her junior colleagues, an incredible set of opportunities, a welcoming community. She did this by setting up the student activities in Information Theory Society. That's the formal part, but I have observed countless times the informal part, the constant and tireless and gracious way in which she has managed to be a mentor and a supporter and a champion, an advocate for all junior researchers, whether they be in academia or industry, as a cohort, and for them individually. That amount of professional affection is rare, probably unique again, and it's truly a gem that we all benefit from. And so with that, I just want to say congratulations, Andrea. I cannot think of a more deserving recipient, and I am thrilled that everybody recognizes what everybody already knew. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Muriel. And now I am honored to introduce our keynote speaker this evening, Larry Irving. Larry not only produced the first empirical study proving the existence of the digital divide, but he also named it and brought it to the global stage. A career-long advocate for digital equity and regulatory reform, Larry has advised presidents and White House officials and remains a vocal advocate for the and underconnected. Larry is CEO of the Irving Group and has held leadership positions at the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, plus other organizations. Tonight, Larry is here to talk with us about redefining the digital divide. Please join me in welcoming Larry Irving.
Thank you, Rachel. It is an honor to be here. I want to thank you. I also want to thank Vint, and I want to thank Samantha, but everybody involved in the Marconi Society. It's an absolute honor. This has been an incredible week, but an incredible day. The symposium you held today, you brought together some of the leading thinkers, leaders, activists, advocates across the planet who are working to bring all of us together, connecting us through this incredible miracle called the internet. Vint knows a little bit about that miracle because he was one of the inventors of it, but all of us are the beneficiaries of what's happened over the last 3 decades. I absolutely want to commend the Marconi Society for the award to Andrea Goldsmith. I don't believe that I know her, but we have Stanford in common, as does Vint. I'm a Northwestern Wildcat and a Stanford University graduate as well. We call ourselves wildcards if you're both Stanford and Northwestern. But I also know that Andrea's a close friend of one of my good friends from Northwestern, who's now a professor at Princeton, Rod Priestley. So I've heard a great deal about Andrea from Rod over the years, and particularly in recent months. One of the things I want to commend Marconi Society for is you have an incredible ability to identify an inclusive community of leaders in this effort to have a decade of digital inclusion. It didn't escape my attention. I don't know if it escaped anybody else's, but of the 3 keynotes today, you had Andrea Goldsmith, who's an award winner, deservedly so, but just the 2 women who've been very important to my life, who I look to as kind of guideposts for what my thinking should be, and who've been defining digital inclusion over the last several years. One is a woman I had the opportunity to work with when she was a very young person, Doreen Bogdan, who worked with me at NTIA, who's now at the ITU, and who I hope will go into even greater leadership at the ITU. No one has done more than Doreen and the global scale to bring women into this conversation and to connect the billions of unconnected people across the planet. The ITU has stepped up and taken a great leadership role under Doreen's leadership, and I think there are great things for her in her future. And here in the United States, another good friend, someone who I've worked with for over a decade, is Chairman Jessica Rosenworcel. And I know that she gave the other keynote. I said in a conversation with a friend this week that no one in America has done more to connect more people to the internet as a policy leader, as a public policy government official than Jessica has in her tenure at the FCC. And her work on the homework gap, her work defining and defending those who are most vulnerable in our society and most needing of what the internet has to offer our children. And her work on the homework gap has led all of us to understand just how important and powerful the internet is for young people. Now, the hour is late. It's 9:30 here on the East Coast. I know people have had a very full day. And my old boss, Ron Brown, who was Secretary of Commerce when I was at the Commerce Department, once said, a speech need not be eternal to be immortal. So I'm going to try to be immortal and not be eternal. The good news is that for those of us who've labored, as I have, for 3 decades in this vineyard, we're beginning to bear some fruit. And actually, I've labored in these vineyards for 4 years because I got involved in the digital divide because of my work in the 1980s on telephone penetration. I think many of you know that the telephone, if you were an African-American, if you were a Latino-American, if you were a Native American reservation in the 1980s, your telephone penetration rates were low. And because of that, when the internet got started, I wanted to make sure that we didn't follow that same pattern with regard to this new and more powerful tool, the internet. And look what we've done in just 3 decades. In 1993, there were 15 million people on the internet. Today, there were 4 billion. When you look at what's happened just in the 20 years since I left government just about the end of 1999, 52% of people in the United States were connected to the internet. Today, 93% are connected. When I left, only 1% of Americans were connected to the internet in 2000. Today, that's over 80%. So who's not connected? Who's not included in that? When you look at it, its age, its education, its geography, all of those make some difference. But the reality is that income is decisive. We need to focus on digital poverty. It is a term that they use overseas, we don't use enough in the United States, because digital poverty means internationally we look at digital poverty, but in the United States, we don't use that term, we don't think about it. And I think that's a mistake because we can correct for all of the other issues, age, income, age, education, and geography. But if we don't tackle the fundamental problem of digital poverty, we'll never catch up. 98% of Americans who have over $50,000 income are on the internet. 90% over 30,000, but only 86% over 30,000 have any connection to the internet. For broadband, the numbers are 90% of Americans with over 50,000 income are on the internet or have broadband. 74% at 30 to 50,000, but only 57% of American households with an income below 30,000 are on the internet. Almost 1 out of 2 very low income households are connected. So the greatest predictor of internet or broadband connectivity is income. That's not just true in the United States, it's true globally. If you look at the 10 least connected nations on the internet, they're also among the 10 poorest nations on the planet. South Sudan, Eritrea, Somalia, Guinea-Bissau, Burundi, all of those nations are far behind the rest of us on this planet in terms of internet connectivity, and in so many ways they need it. There's no one solution, but at least today we're paying attention. Across this planet, we've been ravaged by this pandemic. The pandemic has been an almost absolute awful in every dimension you can think of. What it's done to economies, well, first of all, the lives we've lost, the educational loss, all of us have felt some impact of this pandemic. There is only one salutary effect that this pandemic has had, and that's that it's made all of us understand how important connectivity to the internet is. Prior to last March or April, when you talked about how important the digital divide was and why digital inclusion, somebody tell you, well, you don't need to get people connected to the Netflix, or, how many times does somebody need to be on Facebook, or it's just about some tweets. Nobody believes that anymore. We all understand that it's about healthcare, it's about education, it's about economic opportunity, it's about finding fundamental needs. Here in Washington, D.C., one of the richest cities in the richest nation that's ever existed, I was able to get connected to getting my vaccination because the folks in the poorest part of this town didn't have internet connectivity. I live in a relatively affluent section of town. And when I went online to find a place to get vaccinated, what I discovered was that if I was willing to go 10 miles into a poor African-American part of this city, there were abundant opportunities because the folks there couldn't get connected and weren't being informed about the availability of vaccines. Whereas within walking distance of where folks did have internet connectivity, that's just one example. And I think all of us will remember, I think if there's one iconic meme memory, it's those 2 little girls of Hispanic extraction sitting in Silicon Valley, in San Jose, outside of a Taco Bell so they could do their homework using that Taco Bell free Wi-Fi. A nation this rich should never have that type of necessity, but no child anywhere on this planet should be deprived of education, deprived of the healthcare benefits, deprived of being connected to their families because they don't have access to the internet. We can change that, and with the work of the Marconi Society, we will change that. So how do we get there? What do we do? One of the first things we have to do is we have to have a lingua franca. We need a common language. We need metrics that work for all of us. Whenever I go online to try to find out who's connected, who's not connected, even in the United States, we don't even have a real definition of what's broadband, and what's broadband in the United States isn't broadband globally. We need to have the best minds, thinkers, policymakers, academicians, government officials, technologists. Let's begin to agree on a common language about what internet connectivity means, what broadband means, and then let's have metrics so that wherever you are on this planet, when we say X percentage are connected, we really know what we're talking about, because we don't know today. The second thing is Marconi Society is driving, and I think is so incredibly important. We have to bring together government leaders, academic leaders, business leaders, NGOs, but most importantly, local leaders. And we need them all pulling in the same direction. You know, back in the Clinton days, which seems, God, it's hard for me to believe that's almost a quarter century ago, but we had the term putting people first. And we need to get back to, this is about people, not about technology, not about companies, not about ideas. It's about people and connecting all of our people on this planet to this great technology. And inventions such as Andrea Goldsmith's help us get connected, but we need policy leaders who can follow up on it. And then we need local leaders who can localize those solutions. We need to empower a new generation of leaders. This week, I don't know if some of you saw, but two more great women, younger than me, which is important, but a new generation of leaders, Angie Seifer, who I know has been part of the symposium this week, and Fran Ocello, both received the United Church of Christ Everett Parker Awards were given to them. And it is important that we have new leaders, respect those leaders, empower those leaders, lift up those leaders, and have them become mentors for the generation that's following them. When there's an Angie and there's a Fran, and let's not forget these are two young women again, we bring other people in debate, other people in the dialogue, and that is so important. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I have my ideas, but I know that none of us is as strong and as good as all of us. And by bringing new, smart, tough voices in, we increase the dialogue, increase the likelihood of success. And finally, I believe that most of the solution should be local. I think that when you find a local solution to a problem, you can scale it to a global solution. But it's very hard to take a global solution and ram it down and force it into a local scenario. Let's find 1,000 different local solutions, find which of those are ideal for that one community, but also find which of those can be scaled up. Now, I want to mention one other woman that doesn't get enough credit and mentioning for all that she does. She's currently the chairman of the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. Her name is Laura Breeden. Laura was my colleague. She was my muse. She was the person who taught me how to think about solving the problems of internet connectivity. Laura said, when we're funding grants, we need to ask three fundamental questions. What is the problem to be solved? How will what we're doing solve that problem? And then how will it be sustained after we go away with our grants? If you take those three questions to almost any problem we're trying to solve today, they are still the right three questions. Laura Breeden's three questions in 1993 and 94 are just as important as we head forward to 2003 and 2004. We need to go with that mindset. If we ask those questions, if we focus on digital poverty, if we bring the best minds together, if we look to young leaders, if we look for local solutions first, we can solve this problem. 10 years from now, we're not going to be at 80% or 50% or 70%. We're going to be at close to 100%. And I want to thank Marconi Society for your leadership. I want to thank you for bringing all these great people together. There is more work to do this year in this decade of global inclusion, but there's certainly much more work to be done over the next decade. I look forward to putting my shoulder to the wheel with all of you. It is always good to be in the company of my great friend and mentor, Vint Cerf, but it's also good to see Rachel and Sharon and anybody else in this voice. I look forward to working with you, who can hear my voice tonight. I look forward to working with all of you. I wish you a good night. And Andrea, congratulations again.
Absolutely incredible, Larry. I've got goosebumps over here and such a hope for the future. I heard you loud and clear, and I know everyone out there did too. A world that gets better and closer together. It's ahead. Thank you. Larry Irving, everyone. Are you feeling it too out there? I hope so. And I hope the love keeps flowing as we hear from another VIP in Andrea's life. Andrea's mother, Penny, joins us tonight, along with her sister, Remy, brother-in-law, Zeph, and two nephews, Blaze and Emil.
As some of Andrea's closest family members, we'll save the technical accolades for some of the other speakers this evening. But we do want to offer our congratulations, admiration, and gratitude. Andrea, what we would like to acknowledge are all the doors you've opened for others. You've done more than lead by example. By creating opportunities for others who wouldn't have gotten them, you've made the communications field more of an equal place. And it's such an important field for all of our society that we're all the beneficiaries of the equity that you've brought. Andrea, you're so great at so many things. Fantastic mother and wife, amazing daughter and sister, and life-changing mentor and teacher. Being good at one of those things is an admirable accomplishment, but you're great at all of them. And that makes us grateful that we get to call you ours. We love you, Andrea. We love you, Andrea.
We love you, Andrea.
We love you, Andrea. Congratulations.
Thank you, Remy, Penny, and family. That was beautiful. And while miles might divide all of us a little bit right now, the power of video brings us together right here. And sharing his congratulations from across the globe, please join me in welcoming Mohammed Salim Alawini, Distinguished Professor at Cost and Andrea's first graduate student. Welcome, Slim.
Hello, everyone. It has been my honor and privilege to be the first PhD student of Andrea about 25 years ago when she started her academic career at Caltech. I'm happy to see her being recognized with this Marconi Prize and in a way to join this Telecom Hall of Fame. Andrea, well deserved for your technical contribution, for your impactful research, and for your exceptional mentoring skills. Thanks, Andrea, for being such a great advisor and such a great role model. Not only have you been a fantastic advisor, but you have actually inspired me how to advise other students and postdoc with this, let's say, magic balance and combination between technical guidance and technical suggestions, exceptional mentorship, and of course this nice way that you give to your student to pick and choose some research topics within their PhD thesis research. Congratulations again, Andrea. I wish you all the best in your new role as the Dean of Engineering at Princeton. I'm sure you will succeed again.
Thank you so much, Slim. That was fantastic. So now I want to talk to you all a little bit about the Marconi Prize. The Marconi Prize is a distinguished honor that since 1974 has been awarded to a living scientist who has made exemplary contributions in scientific innovation, entrepreneurism, and practical impact. In 2019, we added humanitarianism to that list of already very elite criteria. Often considered the Nobel Prize of Communications, Andrea Goldsmith is the first female recipient of this award, and I am proud to say she deeply embodies every principle to its fullest.
present the award this evening, please join me in welcoming to the stage two of Andrea's mentors, Marconi Fellows, John Chiaffi, CEO and Chairman of ASEA Inc. and Professor Emeritus at Stanford University, and Aragyaswamy Palraj, Professor Emeritus at Stanford University.
Dr. Vince Cerf, Chairman, Marconi Society, Professor John Chiaffi, Vice Chair, members of the Marconi family, our honorary Professor Andrea Goldsmith, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I always thought that breaking glass ceilings was all about that golden gondola crashing into the glass roof, the 1971 movie, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That changed when I met Professor Andrea Goldsmith, and I realized that here is a woman colleague who can break glass ceilings and no gondolas needed. Andrea joined us at Stanford in 1999, and I was then on sabbatical leave doing a wireless startup, soon followed by another project for a textbook on MIMO. But I got to know her better when we later collaborated on a new book on wireless. This is originally my project, and I had roped in researchers in Europe to contribute chapters, but somehow never got to finishing things. But that all changed when Andrea got involved. She took over the book and cracked the whip and got the book done in no time. Andrea then insisted on celebrating. I think we had grand dinners in London and San Francisco and perhaps other cities. I later figured that the royalty from that book barely covered the dinner tabs that had piled up, but money well spent. Andrea's leadership qualities became increasingly evident at Stanford. She was prominent in many fronts, including the Senate Budget Committee, undergraduate education reform, the Leadership Academy to enhance diversity in faculty recruitment. She also worked with the IEEE and other organizations, opening pathways in academia for women in sciences and engineering. The engineering community is indeed very fortunate to have such an influential voice in Andrea at the highest levels in our country. Dean at Princeton, on the boards of Intel, Crown Castle, and Medtronics, and now also a member of US President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. Finally, it's a high privilege and a great pleasure to welcome Professor Andrea Goldsmith to the Fellowship for the Marconi Society. A singular honor, it's extremely well-deserved. Her breakthrough research, her entrepreneurial success, and her leadership in gender equity and diversity have all been at the very highest levels. My heartiest congratulations, Andrea.
Hello, I'm John Chiaffi and have served the last 12 years on Marconi's Selection Advisory Committee, which recommends the prize winners. The last 5 years, I was its chair. During that time, the committee's constituency diversified greatly, and now its winners also so diversify with this year's selection of Andrea Goldsmith. While many at this gala speak of diversity, we are all also unique individuals. And I would like to speak about a special type of diversity, Andrea the individual. Andrea the individual is quite diverse, and that is the reason she is this year's winner. First, Andrea the student. Andrea, as a Berkeley graduate student long ago, diversified to drive 1 hour each week to attend my Stanford research group meetings. No other student I know made such an effort. That exemplary, diverse effort propelled her dissertation and early career. Second, Andrea the teacher. When Andrea joined Stanford faculty, I was assigned to be her mentor. Andrea arrived at Stanford and energetically motivated students. Her wireless textbook and classes are famous. But Andrea's teaching methods went far beyond the classroom and were diversely unique. Andrea made exceptional personal effort to connect with students through many parties, dinners at her house, and events that enriched their lives. Third, Andrea the entrepreneur. Andrea further diversified and co-founded Quantenna earlier this century. I wrote Quantenna's first investment check and more checks later. Quantenna was first in mass-producible multi-user MIMO Wi-Fi chips, in good part thanks to Andrea's early years there. The company later went public and was subsequently acquired by a large semiconductor manufacturer. Fourth, Andrea the leader. Andrea has served in many diverse volunteer leadership positions, from editorships to conference chairs to Information Society president and to chair of Stanford's Faculty Senate. She also serves on the boards of 3 public companies. Most recently, she became Princeton's Dean of Engineering because of her technological vision. The White House recently selected Andrea as a member of the President's Technology Advisory Committee. And finally, Andrea, the family friend and socialite. When Andrea becomes your friend, and she has many, she will learn everything about you. Your families will know one another. If you need advice or referral, she knows someone. She checks up on you, often, like a family member. This Marconi Award is unique in that the winners become a close family group. This is unlike any other award I've experienced. I can think of no one better to introduce to you and to welcome into our grand Marconi family than the highly diverse Dr., Professor, Dean, and Sister Andrea Goldsmith, the 2021 Marconi Prize recipient.
Congratulations, Andrea.
Wow, I am deeply honored and tremendously humbled to become a Marconi Fellow. The Marconi Fellows are my professional heroes, the people I've looked up to my entire career for the immense impact they've had on communication technologies. The honor of becoming a Marconi Fellow is particularly meaningful to me at this moment in time as we emerge from a pandemic in which our information technologies enabled our universities, companies, and the entire social ecosystem to function in a suddenly all online world. I'm so proud to be among the researchers, technologists, and innovators that created today's communication infrastructure. And today, to me, is the most exciting time to be a researcher and innovator in communications, as we have much work ahead to create the next generation of communication technologies, as well as ensuring digital inclusion for everyone around the globe. The value of connectivity, particularly for those who don't have it, has never been more apparent than today. I'm also very proud to become a Marconi Fellow due to the special character, culture, and mission of the Marconi Society. I've been part of the Society for over a decade, first serving on the committee that selects the Marconi Prize recipient, never imagining it would be me someday, and now serving on the Marconi Board of Directors. I've watched the organization blossom in recent years, from launching new programs to engage young innovators around the world, to becoming a powerful agent of change in bringing connectivity to the billions that are currently unconnected. I look forward to continuing my engagement with the mission of the Marconi Society in whatever way I can be most helpful, including the lifelong role of Marconi Fellow. As the first female recipient of the award, I want to acknowledge the many diverse researchers and innovators in communications and all of engineering that came before me, yet were not recognized for their contributions. I passionately believe, based on all of my professional experiences, that engineering needs people with diverse ideas and backgrounds in order to achieve its full potential. When I reflect on the state of the engineering profession today, it's clear we have not made nearly enough progress in recognizing the barriers of bias and inequity that diverse engineers face, and in breaking down those barriers so that every engineer reaches their full potential and is recognized and celebrated for their achievements. I therefore ask everyone in the audience to do one thing this coming year to mentor, support, promote, or celebrate a diverse engineer. And I thank you in advance for making our profession better as a result. I'd now like to thank and express my gratitude to the many people who have supported me throughout my career, leading to this incredible honor. Please bear with me as it's a long list. I first want to thank the Marconi Society, particularly its chairman, Vince Cerf, its executive director, Samantha Schwartman, the communications and marketing director, Paula Riemann, and the entire staff and board of directors for their tireless work on behalf of the Marconi Society. An award of this nature is only as meaningful as the society that grants it and the awardees that came beforehand. It is because of all of you that this award is so meaningful. I also want to thank the staff for the tremendous creativity and hard work needed to move this event online on short notice due to the challenges of the pandemic. You've made this night incredibly meaningful and special, and I will treasure the memories of it forever. I also want to express my deepest gratitude to my nominators and the people who wrote my letters of support for this award. First, for deciding that I was worthy, and then for selflessly taking time from your busy schedules to create the nomination package. I'm also grateful to the 2020 Marconi Selection Advisory Committee, which recommended me to the board of directors as the Marconi Prize recipient. Having served on this committee in the past, I know that there are many deserving recipients of the prize that have made foundational contributions to communications. I thank the committee for their hard work in making the selection, particularly in the midst of a pandemic, and for deciding that I was deserving of this incredible honor. My early professional mentors were also instrumental in my career and in my receiving this prize. My advisor and dear friend, Praveen Varaya, admitted me to Berkeley's PhD program, despite me having lower grades and test scores than many other applicants. He saw something about my potential that went beyond those typical metrics, and he gave me the chance to demonstrate that potential. Praveen has been an inspiration and role model throughout my career due to his great breadth and depth of knowledge, along with his deep insight and integrity. Working with and learning from Praveen launched me on a great trajectory for future professional success. I was also extremely fortunate to meet Larry Greenstein of AT&T Bell Labs at a conference during my first year as a PhD student. Larry hired me to work at his department at Bell Labs the following summer, and his mentoring and teaching was particularly impactful during the early days of my career. In particular, my work with Larry and my other Bell Labs colleagues that summer of 1991 introduced me to the joys and sorrows of wireless research, which has captivated me throughout my career. I want to thank Caltech and Stanford faculty and leadership for the privilege of joining their faculty and for providing supportive and inspiring environments for my research and teaching. In addition, I'm grateful to the Princeton leadership for giving me the amazing opportunity to lead its School of Engineering, and to the Princeton faculty, students, and staff who have embraced my leadership and vision and have made this past year so rewarding and fun. In addition to my academic colleagues, I want to thank the people that helped to create my successful startups. Thanks to the investors who believed in me and my founding team. We could not have done it without your support through the trials and tribulations of a hardware startup, along with the many rounds of funding needed for our success. Thanks also to the engineers at my startups who joined me on an entrepreneurial journey with an uncertain ending, pouring their heart and soul and knowledge and experience into creating successful products and ultimately successful companies. I also want to express my utmost gratitude to the brilliant, passionate, and creative students and postdocs and collaborators that I've had the pleasure and privilege to work with. This award is mostly your award. I've learned so much from you, been inspired by you, and been in awe of all that you have achieved. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the honor of working with you, which has been the most rewarding aspect of my entire professional career. It's not easy to balance work, family, and any kind of life. I'm fortunate to have wonderful friends that have helped me through the deepest depths of professional and personal despair and made every step along my professional and personal journey more fun and more rewarding. To my friends who have enriched my life so much with your love, support, and the many memories we have created together, thank you for the happiness and joy you have brought into my life. I treasure your friendship more than you can know. My deepest gratitude goes out to my family. My dad, the senior Professor Goldsmith, was my greatest cheerleader throughout my career until his passing. I wish he could be here tonight, where he would be beaming, bragging, giving me huge hugs that would mess up my hair, and snapping pictures. He is certainly here in spirit. And my mom, the animator and character designer for the Bullwinkle and Rocky show, as well as the inspiration for Natasha Fatale, gave me my creative and flamboyant side, instilled in me a joie de vivre, taught me that you can dance at any occasion, even if you're the only one dancing, and forged in me a resilience that has served me well in every time of crisis or challenge. To my sister Remy and her amazing boys, Zeph, Blaze, and Emil, thank you for the love and joy and support you've shown me. To my honorary moms, Penny and Lily, thank you for adopting me and loving me as your daughter. Thanks also to my adopted family in Mexico and Israel, who came into my life through Arturo. You've enriched my life and that of my family. I am so grateful to have you as my family. My children, Daniel and Nicole, are the best results I've ever created, and they have brought me more joy and love into my life than I could describe in words. They constantly remind me that all my professional successes pale in comparison to the rewards of being their mom. As they enter young adulthood, I'm in awe of their compassion, their empathy, and their success professionally and personally. Daniel and Nicole, your love and support is a priceless treasure to me in the best, worst, and most mundane of times. I love you both more than infinity, and I cannot possibly express the pride I have in the people you have become. My last words of gratitude are for my husband, best friend, Media Naranja, and the love of my life, Arturo. I greatly appreciate the sacrifices you have made for my career. This award and all my professional success would not have been possible without you. You've been with me every step of the way, from our move to Caltech at the beginning of our marriage, with you commuting to your startup in a different city so that I could have my dream job, through the trials of getting tenure, parenting our two wonderful children, my 4 books, 2 startups, and the other myriad of professional activities, along with our crazy but wonderful personal life, filled with dear friends, copious food, wine, and parties, and adventures far from home, as well as near home and in our home. And thanks for agreeing to our most recent adventure of bi-coastal living when I took the job at Princeton, another dream professional opportunity that you supported unconditionally, despite the personal and professional challenges for you that it created. The Tujis and Drushkis adventure has far surpassed anything I could have imagined when I said I do those 27 plus years ago. Through all of this, in good times and bad, through crisis, celebration, and everyday life, you have been by my side, my professional cheerleader and greatest source of love and support. Marrying you, spending our lives together, and creating our family is what I consider to be my greatest and most rewarding success. No words could express how much happiness and love you have brought into my life, for which you have my deepest thanks and love. I love you, te quiero mucho.
My goodness. Wow. It's hard to follow that. Andrea, you could not be a more exemplary Marconi Fellow. As a woman who's worked in and around the peripheries of the tech field, you are truly a personal inspiration. And I think an inspiration to all of us, and an example of what can happen when you really apply the passion and dedication that you have in your career. The fact is, your scientific contributions to the advancement in speed and reliability of wireless networks is central to our ability to connect the next billion. Over the next decade, wireless networks are going to become more and more ubiquitous. But more than your brilliant technological achievements, Andrea, you've always valued the human networks behind the technology. And this is so rare. Your dedication to diversity and inclusion is creating a pipeline of future leaders that are going to bring so much to the field of engineering and the future of technology innovation. I just know that we haven't yet seen the extent of your impact. So thank you for setting a high bar, Andrea. I feel my job just got a lot harder to ensure that the Marconi Society continues to live up to your example. Congratulations. And everyone with us this evening, thank you for celebrating. Cheers and good night.
Vint, Samantha, we did it. Congratulations. Great job, everyone. Really, bravo.
Yay.
How great was Andrea's speech?
Really good. You're on mute. Vint, if you want to come off mute. It was great. Yeah, it was hard to follow that.
Oh
I
my
went
gosh.
a little off
Wow.
script there.
Wow. Yeah.
It was fantastic.
That was a two hankies. That was a two hanky call. Wow.
Yeah,
agreed.
Samantha, you crushed that finish, you know, hearing it emotionally and just enjoying it. I thought you did fantastic. So I think it was sincere, it was passionate, it was emotional. You got back on script. I mean, fantastic. Bravo, Carrie,
Yeah,
Samantha.
congratulations, everyone.
Yeah. Andrea looked and sounded
both.
great. Absolutely. It's our pleasure.